What is up, guys? It's Verns back here again with another Supercoach video, and it has been a rough last few weeks for me. We've dropped another 835 places down to 3,112. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised in the slightest. The cash game, unfortunately, I wish it was going a bit better than how it's going. We scored at 306. So many things went wrong. Just so many things. Just going to quickly check the team to make sure it's actually... Yep, okay, stuff hasn't been done. Perfect. Just wanted to make sure. But look, it's just been rough, guys. It's been rough. Also, just like basketball this week in general, like the NBL, it wasn't good. It just wasn't good. Like, they were scrappy, sloppy games, poor shooting, lots of turnovers. Yeah, honestly, the start to the round was a nightmare. This wasn't good. Yeah, game 1 wasn't good. Game 2 wasn't good. Game 3 wasn't good. Now, honestly, none of these games were very good. Like, this is not a good week for the NBL. Not a good week to showcase at all. As I said, just sloppy, scrappy basketball with just poor shooting woes. And yeah, it was messy and didn't feel good or entertaining to watch. As we can see, team-wise, it just went awful. But before we jump into that, I do want to just appreciate all of you for tuning into the video. I know it hasn't been going well, and I really appreciate all those that just keep tuning back in to be like, it's okay, Vern. You'll survive. I mean, maybe. Like, you can't die in this game, which is lucky. Because if you could, I would definitely be out. But yeah, definitely appreciate all those that are tuning in, liking, and subscribing for the consistent injection of Supercoach content directly into their YouTube feed. But look, the other thing is we always expected this to be a down week. We always knew it wasn't going to be the greatest week from us. In the sense that we didn't hold Magne. I expected, not hold Magne, but I knew people would have, Magne and stuff, and I only had 2 guys on the doubles. It was meant to be a big week last week, and then a smaller week this week. Unfortunately, with the Adams captain last week backfired and ended up being a poor week, and then we weren't set up well for this week, so we always expected it to be a bad week. And yeah, it just kept snowballing, which was really, really painful. I guess a few things just went awful. I told you about the cash earlier. Now, when you see the team value of the 2.36, it doesn't take into account this 111k that I've got sitting in the bank. It only takes into account the actual on-field value. So we're sitting at 2 million for 2.4 million. 70-ish, which isn't the worst, but if we do jump over the rankings teams, teams are very far ahead. I mean, we have a team here 2.6, and once again, that's just their on-field team value. Who knows how much money they have in the bank. I went down and I saw, yeah, 2,630, 2,630 again, 2,6 almost 70, 2,650. Now, I know these guys are at the top of the leaderboard, but that's where we want to be chasing, and I mean, we're just behind in the money game. We're behind in the money game, and that makes it even harder to chase because we can't get the best players. There's plenty of things to look at here. Obviously, Henschel, over the last 2 weeks, he's earned about $8,500. Awesome, he earned something, but obviously I kept him over Hickey, who's earned about $62,000. So we've given up 54k there. Obviously, Robertson was massive, definitely earned us a lot of money, which was good. Zakarski hasn't really done much on our bench. He's earned 30k over this time, but not quite what we wanted. I mean, Harrison's someone that's earned 100k and a lot better. Galloway backfired quite poorly. Obviously, he didn't score well for us, but on top of it, he only made about 4k. He earned 18 last week, and then he lost 14 this week, so he only made 4. There's definitely players over that period of time that could have definitely earned way more money than that, so just really disappointing there. Lepepe's been great. Menenga was a little bit disappointing. I think Menenga was disappointing just in the sense that he missed a lot of bunnies. He missed these free under-the-basket shots that were, they weren't even contested. Good pass from PJC, couldn't finish the basket. Or even if he was slightly contested, he's in prime position where you should be finishing that, and really disappointing from him. I reckon he missed somewhere between 4 to 6 bunnies, and when I say that, I mean literally freebies, almost uncontested under the basket, over these 2 games. It was crazy how many of those he missed. So in reality, if you look at his score, it's well, he really should have been 40 plus, which, that's kind of what we expected from him. So really disappointing there. He also just couldn't really hit a 3-ball. I think he had I remember seeing 1 over the 2 games. He wasn't draining the shots, and we can talk about this, the jet lag effect. New Zealand come back, Menenga was in good form and then didn't quite perform. So really disappointing. I guess the only thing that doesn't matter there is 80% of the top 10% own him, so it's like, oh, like we're all just suffering together. I guess the 20% of the competition I'm not getting the advantage on, but there's no loss for it. Technically, we all have Menenga. We basically all have him on field, and we don't have him captained. Same with PJC. We all have PJC. We all have him captained. It's him doing well doesn't hurt us in any way. But all it does is punish the very small percentage that didn't get on him. So we definitely want those guys to do well. Cooks came out with 40 on a single. Awesome. That was great. I expect Menenga to bounce back too. At least, worst case scenario is, the thing with break is, every team technically has 7 doubles in the year. Obviously, he plays 27 games and it's 20 rounds, so you get 7 doubles. They had 2 buys. So because of that, they need to make up for it. So now they're playing 18 rounds, but they need to have 9 doubles. But then on top of that, their first 2 rounds were singles as well. So then there's 16 rounds left, and they have to have 9 doubles. So then there's 9 doubles, 7 singles. He's someone that you can just sort of park on the bench for the rest of the season to a degree. Don't really need to stress about him. Yeah, I'm not stressed about him. If he can continue to, hopefully, I think he's still underpriced. I think he'll be better than what we saw here. I think he'll continue to get towards that 200k, and, you know, if you move him on later on, you move him on later on, but he's definitely not high risk or anything. He's just going to sit there and chill. Yeah, Cooks had a good game. Obviously, PJC captain, like, so obvious. Everyone was on top of that. Awesome. Really disappointing from these 2 Sydney guys right here, though. So disappointing. I mean... This is where some of my woes start. It's like I have Oliver, who's now almost 20k cheaper than when the season started. And a lot of people saw Oliver absolutely cooking it early, and they got off him. And I thought, hey, this is going to be an advantage for me, but it wasn't. It ended up being a disadvantage. He didn't score well. And look, I think my logic is there. Even if we just look at what he's done this season, he started off with 31 points, 26 points. Comes out with a 16, and we just go, that's a one-off. Don't worry about it. 28. So basically, I mean, out of these first 5 games, 4 of them are really good, and they're above that 277 price tag. But then it's the 21. It's not the end of the world. If that's going to be his floor, it's fine. But then it has a 10 on top of it, and it's just... It's ludicrous. It's ludicrous. And for people that honestly were running stuff like Hurt or Days, and were just running these guys on their bench, they made like... they're going to be 100k more expensive than what Oliver is now, but then they also just like made as many points. I think that's the crazy thing here too, is if we look at the total points for Oliver, he's had a fair few doubles, 163 points. If I go to goddamn like Hurt or Days or any of these other guys, let's just start with Hurt, who's obviously been a monster and a huge target for people, but his total points is 211. The man's played less games and has scored like 50 more total points than Oliver. So if you held this guy, you made more points, you made more money. Like, it just was so much better than holding goddamn Oliver. Days, also the example we could use. I mean, Days was someone that we did own, so the perfect example comparatively, because we could have moved Oliver over Days. 198. That's still, what, 30 more points than Oliver, and he's played less games again. Yes, the 16 this week would have hurt owners, and he lost some money. Now he's got a high break even, but he's on the double, so you'll forgive him for that. But still, just Oliver's really hurt us this season, and that's probably one of my biggest downfalls is when we look at the top teams, they don't have Oliver, they don't have Space Cam. I backed him in for too long, and it just came back to burn me. Like, it's just hurt so much. And I think he is very like reliant on actually scoring points to score Supercoach points. He doesn't do that much on the rebound front. Gets a couple of blocks sometimes, but not all the time. And he's just very heavily reliant on scoring. And his 3-ball, I mentioned this on the Supercoach Hub the other week, but it was off last week, and I would have liked to have seen him do more stuff in the in that mid-range game. 1 week goes by and he does even less in the mid-range game. He doesn't score, doesn't rebound, and scores 10, and it's just very disappointing. Obviously, Cook's being a lot better than what we originally thought when the season started is going to affect him, but then also Lepepe being really good as well. So I think these guys being better than we expected definitely eat into Oliver, but then just Oliver just not really stuffing that stat sheet. He needs to do more under the ring. He needs to actually get rebounds. He needs to get the ball closer to the ring and just be content with getting 2-pointers. You don't have to jack the 3. You don't always have to pop off a screen, roll to the basket and slam it down. You're meant to be Space Cam. I want to see you getting up there. Yeah, so it's just a bit disappointing in that sense. And then Adams, like, This is fine. This is fine. We were glad for him to play. A lot of people got a huge advantage on us this week because they went Trez and they kept KD, and both those guys went 43 points, and comparatively that's 33 more points than Oliver, that's 21 more points than Adams. That's, there you go, 54 extra points this week alone. That puts you to a 360, which is very different. So that's where we definitely lost points, and I definitely feel it this week with the Trez play, because Trez 43, he makes 16k, Oliver loses like 14, so you lose like 30k swing in that direction, plus the 33 extra points because he would have been a guy on field. So that's really disappointing in that sense, but we obviously held Oliver because he's meant to have 2 doubles coming up. He's meant to double this week and then the double the following week, so he has 2 extra games over Trez. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter when he's performing at this level. So very, very frustrated owner here. Yeah, and we got to look at who we're bringing in. So we're just, the first thing I'm going to bring us all to once again, it's the break-even game. I just need, you know what, I've decided we need to hunt money. We're behind in points and we need money. Glover came out with a massive game. For anyone that actually held him, they got rewarded. Funny enough, this might sound so silly, but if you started Henschel over Glover, even though he did not play, but then moved Henschel to Glover, I think, last week, you just like that somehow would have been the way to do it. Obviously something you never do, but yeah. Glover obviously up there. People definitely consider him. Ty Webster up there. Cotton out. This guy, I'm interested. Max Darling. Dude, incredible from the three-point line. Did he hit 6 threes in that second game? He was incredible. He was just sitting in the corner, slapping that down. He got some big blocks. Who did they play in that second game? Oh, yeah, it was Doolittle, I'm pretty sure. And he put it down Doolittle's throat. I was like, my God. He popped off, and anyone that went for Darling just got crazy rewarded, which is really funny. Last week, if you went for Robinson, didn't seem like the correct play, got rewarded. This week, went for Darling, didn't seem like the correct play, got rewarded. So these 69k guys actually coming in big. And then the other guys, obviously Doolittle down on the 7 break even. Oh my God. Who doesn't want Christian Doolittle in their team? Incredible. Anyone that's been on Prather, this one hurts me because we all know I really wanted to start Prather over Hickey or Glover, and if I started them over either of them, that would have just been better, but I chose to decide to play the schedule and then move to Prather afterwards, but then other things happened and I didn't do that and went to Henschel, and just very, very annoying because I'm pretty sure Prather's made more money since then, since Henschel. No, he definitely would have actually, because he's made the 90k, and no, he definitely hasn't. Yeah, because from there on, so Prather would have been the better play as well. Very disappointing there. Bateman actually coming back to life. Playing off the bench, looking really good. Someone I actually was also considering this week after their game. Went and checked him out, and I was like, 11 break even. He looks like he's finally in his groove where he's performing to this 277 level, so at 24 sort of average. So you could get him with a bit of a discount right now and then get him before their good run. But I think this is something that we just hold off for and we wait for their good run. And we just be happy that, hey, if he started playing well from the word go, we're going to be paying 350 to 400k to him. Because he started off slow, we might be lucky enough to get him for cheap 300s, high 200s when their run starts. But he's looking really good now. Henschel, don't worry about. Where's my other guy we really want? Oh, here we go. Armstrong. Is Armstrong back? That is a very important question. 2 weeks ago, he was the must-have of the week. 2 weeks later, I think people have forgotten about him. I feel like last week, they decided not to play him just not to risk it, but I feel like, I forgot what I read there, but I feel like there was a strong possibility he was going to be back this week. I think that was the expectation. So if Armstrong is back this week, then how do you not pick him? The man's averaging 29. Just remember, 24 is 277k. 29, that's 350k value. He could be 150k underpriced for what he can do. At minimum, I think he's 100k underpriced. So someone that I think we need to get on if he plays. Be very unfortunate if he gets injured again, but I think you take that risk with Armstrong. And yeah, I think they're the most important guys. I mean, Harrison, once again, just still making money, low break even. God damn, Harrison, stuff you. Stuff you. I need to check something out, actually. We're just going to randomly check this out. So we're going to jump off the break-even game. We're going to look at the round 5 summary. We're going to look at averages overall. So these are guys, obviously, you want. PJC, Cooks, Hurt, Doolittle. Something I find crazy this season is last year, you'd go down and it would be guard for like the first top 10 players before you'd even see a center or a forward. This year, it's actually getting spiced up. We see forward, center, forward, center, forward. Like, there's a lot more forwards up there than there were last year, and they've been a lot better. Yeah, Doolittle with a really low break even, someone that we maybe want to get on. If you don't get him on this week, he's got a 7 break even. Let's say he gets 30, he goes up 23k, ends up 277. Can you really afford another 400k guy team? So English, another 400k player in your team. Already got PJC. Most people have Cooks. Adams, yeah, he's dropped the money, but you bought him at 400k, so counts that. Do we want a Herd in our team? Can we get a Doolittle there? It's so hard, and that's why those guys that have the money advantage are just so far ahead, because there's a good chance that they're going to be able to get Hurt, get Doolittle, have all these big dogs on these double games, and they're just going to run over us, which sucks. But yeah, Hurt's incredible. I think he's got a very high floor. We've seen it in the games, even that 7 we're losing. He was still getting, I think the lowest we've seen is like 22 or so. I can click on him and actually tell you what the lowest we've seen from him is. So we can see he's still got the ceiling where he can get towards these 40s, but his lowest games are 25. Technically better than Cook's. His lowest games are 19, but his higher games are higher. He's had that 48 and last week, I'm pretty sure. So higher ceiling on Cook, maybe higher floor on Hurt, but that might be, I want to say a one-off for Cook, but at the same time, I could see that happening again, where Sydney just run over a team. You know, they run their second unit because they're up by 30, and then Cooks ends up with another 20 because he didn't need to play. Definitely could be a possibility where Hurt, he's playing in a team that they need him to play. They need him to play big minutes. They need him to score points. They need him so badly. So Hurt, honestly, someone that I think you're going to be pretty safe with. But yeah, these top averages are just absolutely nuts. Unfortunately, the 3-round clearly takes into account your double games, because I was going to check out 3-round average for Tyrell Harrison. Obviously, he's only played these, so 3-round basically, as of last week, his 3-round was insane. 31, but actually taking these into account, yeah, I think 38 was his 3-round average last round, which would have made him one of the top scorers in the league. So unfortunate. We really were on the right guy, but just messed up there. Anyway, I'm rambling way too long about other stuff. Let's look at our trades. We saw the most high-priced guys. We saw the best break-evens, but what am I actually doing about that? Rule 1, Galloway, get out of my team. I'm going to show you the 2 different options I'm going for, because there's 2 to toss up. I need to get Galloway out. I need to get Henschel out. These guys, they're not making money. They don't have the break-evens. I mean, technically, even if I hit this, let's just put them back. Where were they? 42 for Galloway. I don't think he's going to get there. Henshaw 11. Honestly, that sounds like what he might get. Like, I know Cotton's out, but just because Ty Webster was out didn't mean he performed well. So I don't feel comfortable with either of those guys. I'm just going to move them on out of our team. Now, 2 options. Option 1, we hunt money. We hunt money. And we get Ty Webster early. And we get, as I mentioned, it could be the must-have Armstrong. And boom, we hunt money. We still have 5 guys on the double. We have 3 guys on the bench on the double. And then we have someone that's going to definitely make some money in Webster. And then he comes into 5 doubles in a row. So, not bad. Not bad. Definitely a different route, and this might seem weird, but holding Oliver as a pod, it could keep burning me as the year goes on, but if something was to turn around, I will be one of the few people that are actually on him, which is weird enough. So that's option 1. Let's reverse it, and let's see option 2. Option 2, it's a little bit more points, but it's also that we want to hunt money too, so we're going to be getting Galloway out again. We're going to be getting Oliver out. And we're gonna get in Hurt, because I just talked about how damn good that guy is. I mean, Oliver, it's Hurt or Doolittle, but Hurt's got the double this week, so I think you just play towards it. Okay, Hurt, you meant to be in the center. And then we need to get in someone cheap. If I'm just gonna click players I can afford. Oh wait, I need to do that in filter. Players I can afford. I mean, Aldridge is up there. Yeah, it's not looking good. Malik Lewis could be a shout. could be a shout. I think did really well this round. I think if we look at what we did this round, yep. Steindl's actually been playing well. Not on the bench. He's starting on field and he's playing quite well. This was a double that he put the 34 down in, and I think he's got like 26 in one game, so not great. Darling, 1% owned. Shout out to David, who actually went Darling. Mad lad. But he did look so good in that game too that it is tempting. Malik Lewis, someone else that's getting elevated court time and doing really well with it. Difference is Darling's got a lot less money on him, so he can, you save a lot more cash going for him. We keep the 100k in the bank. I think the only other one I wanted to look at... Nah, that must be it. That must be it for this. Yeah, it was actually, because it was Darling. Malik. Yeah. Those were the guys. Or I could also flick Robinson up. Maybe look at a Glover. I'm not going back to Hickey. I'm so triggered about this, but I'm still not going back to him. I don't care. I'm not going to bring in a guy that just earns 60k. His break-even's pretty high. Nah. I don't play like that. You know what? I traded him. He ain't coming back. So it's really only Glover that we're looking at. Unless we're going to pop a boost and change everything. And this is where I'd be looking at. As I mentioned, he might be a must-have. If this guy's playing this week, he's going to be a must-have. So if I get hurt, I've got to get Armstrong, in my opinion. And that way, I've got to force a boost out. If I'm forcing a boost out, then am I bringing in Glover? In my opinion, no. If I bring in Darling, I think I would. I think I would go this route if Armstrong ends up getting named. So this way, we still get Armstrong, who I think would be a must-have if he's going to play. We get Hurt on field, which is a huge upgrade from Oliver. I say a huge upgrade, but if Oliver dropped 60 points in the double, I wouldn't be surprised. If he dropped 50, I wouldn't be surprised. Where I think, Hurt could get 60 to 70, 60 to 80-ish. So they could end up with a very similar score where Hurt and Oliver end up with similar scores. They've got actually pretty similar break-evens. So then we're not really earning any money. We're not really gaining any points. We've just boosted for no reason to a degree. Which could be a problem, but you'd at least feel a lot more comfortable. I feel a lot more comfortable about that. Do I feel like he's going to get 60 minimum? Yes. With upside of potentially 80. Do I think Oliver's going to get 60 minimum? No bloody way. I think Oliver could be getting between 35 to 40 minimum, so I'm going to say 35 minimum, with maybe his highest being 60 to 65. If his highest is Hurt's floor, I'm going to feel a lot more comfortable having Hurt in the team. A lot better that I've Hurt in the team. Now let's just say Armstrong didn't play. Technically, I could still use the boost, but just change it to Ty Webster and at least hunt money this way. But then if I'm going to hunt money that way, would I bother bringing in Doolittle for that? Hunt money times 2, because then they've got the good fixture after that where they got the 5 doubles in a row. Definitely could. But because I've got to look at that after this fact. After the fact, what happens next week? So let's just complete these and what happens next week? Sydney have one more double. So do I trade the Sydney fellas? Probably not. Yep, we're not going to trade these New Zealand guys. Not going to trade Hurt. But Doolittle, I'd want Doolittle. Can I afford him? Basically, the answer is no. So then, after the Sydney guys have finished their double, Cooks can probably go to Doolittle. Doolittle at that point is probably close to Cook's price and probably peaking in price, but with such a good fixture, you just got to run him. So then I can end up with this Doolittle Hurt sort of matchup. I feel a little bit awkward running Menenga, but I do think he's better than what we saw. I do think he should be getting towards these 40s in the double, so I'm not going to feel too bad about that. Adams would be done at that point. We would try and get him towards maybe a Bryce for the 5 rounds, but that's depending on how Bryce is, if he's coming back with these ribs, what's happening there. Maybe I'll have to check who else has got a good fixture. Yeah, there's so many questions here, and I'm just not sure about it. I think this is good, but I do really hate using a 3rd boost, especially for someone like Hurt, who, yes, I think he'll score good points, but he's not really going to make any money this week. He's got a high break even. He's going to stagnate in price. if Oliver can pull his finger out and get close to his break even, we're not going to lose too much money, hopefully not lose too much points, and then maybe we can make up for it with the Webster and Armstrong making big money. That's what I'm thinking. I think I like that a bit better. So we save a boost. We can maybe use it the following week to try and force Doolittle in instead. But even if we force Doolittle instead the next week, what would I do? I don't know if there's a way I'd be able to force him in, honestly. It becomes really hard for next week. What do I do? I'm just going to quickly work that out of my head. Give me 1 second. Let's just get these guys back in. So break evens, Ty Webster, and where was he? I went past him. Armstrong. Let's get these guys in because this is the route I sort of want to go for. I feel better about it. Don't use a boost. Feels good. Still have 5 guys on the double. Good. Like that. Next week. Still have United guys with 2 doubles. Sem have 2 doubles. Perth start their 5 doubles in a row, and we'd probably want Doolittle at that point. Is there a way for me to get Menenga up, or would I have to go Oliver up anyway? Because I got to be honest here. If I've got to go Oliver up to Doolittle next week to get him, why not just do it this week? Why not? Yes, it's less points, but it's more money in our pocket. Then we get hurt the following week. Not too much of a fan of that. Not too much of a fan of that. I'd prefer to get hurt this week with 3 doubles in a row. Doolittle next week with 5 doubles. Do we have to move Cooks preemptively? Maybe. I really want Webster for the cash grab this week, but I think Armstrong's also a must-have. But if we're going to go a Doolittle or we're going to go a Hurt, then I can't afford both of them. Just because the way it works out with cash is I need to make another 100k from somewhere. So these guys end up becoming like a Darling or something. That frees up 100k. Then Oliver ends up going up. So yeah, it's a very hard week for me to choose. I'm going to stop rambling on here and we're going to wrap up this video because I've just been talking in circles for a while. But I guess that's what I'm considering. These are the guys that I'm liking. Liking Armstrong, liking Webster, liking Doolittle, and I'm liking Hurt a lot. They're the main guys I want to target. I like Darling too in the sense that he's got a low break even. He's got a good fixture. He's not going to hurt you, even if it ends up like I think Roberts from last season, where you bring him in for 1 week, he churns out a 20. Cool. What, he's got a -3 break even or something? He earns you like 20k, and then you sort of have to move him on after that. That's fine if he sits there for a couple of weeks and stagnates in price and just sort of sits around that 120 mark. That's fine. Move him on hopefully before he starts losing money. So I don't mind that. I think that's good. Captains for the week. So they're the 5 guys I'm interested in. Captains, we've got so many teams on the doubles. It's going to be super diverse. Obviously, New Zealand. PJC is the most obvious choice from a New Zealand team. Sem, the most obvious choice has got to be Hurt. Illawarra, if you still got Days could be a guy. If you're someone that's got a cheeky Trey Kell or something, could be an option. If you're a Melbourne guy, Delhi's actually in good form. I don't know if he has the ceiling, though. I would feel more comfortable with White when it comes to Melbourne. Delhi could also be a shout this week, but I'm not going to be moving Adams or PJC. I've prepped for this round for weeks. I'm not going to change my mind now. So I think Hurt. So I think if we choose one, just sort of from all these teams. So we go PJC, we go Hurt, we go White. Someone I almost wish I held. We go Days, Cairns. Do you go for Warningberg, the Wonder Boy? He's had a pretty high ceiling. I think maybe Armstrong's the safer play though, but I think you could go Wonder Boy if you want to play left of field. And then Sydney being the last team here, and I think you have Cooks or Adams. Let's look at the matchups. Honestly, I could see Cooks doing well in both of these. He seems pretty fixture proof. Adams, I think, could also do very well. He's going to be going into a team without Bryce, who's not the most defensive guard. I mean, I don't think Ty Webster or Henschel are very defensive, so I think he'll be fine into that. Into New Zealand, he's going into PJC, maybe McCarran, Maybe Mooney matches up on him at times. I mean, I feel pretty safe into all three of those. I actually feel like Adams is kind of the best captain here in the entire week, which once again, everyone's feeling super burnt from him from what happened the other week. And can you trust a guy with back problems? Probably not. Am I going to roll the dice with him? Yeah, why the hell not? Let's be honest, I'm behind the pack. Nobody's going to do it. I'm one of the few people with him in my team. I might as well go for it. I also think that something that people aren't respecting is that New Zealand isn't to Sydney, and PJC is going to get quolled. Quoll is going to be all over PJC. I actually think this is one of those rounds where maybe he goes sub 30. One of those games where he goes sub 30 into Sydney, which isn't bad. If you got 2 30s and you got a 60, you're not going to be unhappy with that. I mean, the high score of the round the other week was Cooks on 68. But I do think, obviously, he scored 85 this week. His lowest score of the season is 41. He's gone 41, 44, 49, 51. That is insane. And I can understand the comfortability of picking PJC, feeling like you can't go wrong. But I do think getting into Quoll, he could go sub 30 this week into that matchup. He probably tears apart Sem, though, and probably goes 40 plus into Sem. So he still probably ends up as maybe this 65 minimum guy anyway. I said 60 minimum. You're probably going to get at least 60 minimum from him. Wouldn't be surprised if he scored between 70 75-ish. I don't think he's going to be going 80 plus this week. I don't even think he's going to go 75 plus this week because I think Quoll will keep him down. So I think Adams might be able to get a bit of a advantage there. Assuming he plays these games, he has no back issues. I'd feel pretty confident in him being able to put together 2 games that are 30 plus, hopefully 2 games that are 40 plus, and actually run away with the top score of the round. So I think I'm going to back in Adams here. I say top score of the round. I mean, as I mentioned, like there's so many teams on doubles, you don't know. I mean, Kell could come out and drop 60 in one game and 40 in the next. You might have Sobey come out randomly because no Derek Walton Jr. in the team. He comes out, turns it on, goes nuts. Could be a cheeky shout. Let's maybe check out Sobey. I know that's just like really left of field, but all of a sudden, Derek Walton Jr. is not in the team. Sobey's had a poor season. He's probably dropped a lot of money. He's dropped 90k. He did just drop a 32 this round. His break-even's got to be probably good now, right? 37 on a double's not bad. It's not bad at all. He is a turnover king, but he could be the real yin-yang of the round. I think I've heard that Walton Jr. is going to be good to play. I feel like I heard something like that. But if he's not, it could actually be Sobey time to make a left of field run if you have the option. As I sort of mentioned, I already have Adams and PJC here. And why would I pick Sobey? Yes, he's 50k more expensive than Armstrong and Webster. Webster debatably having a better fixture, both of them having a better break even. He has a better fixture than Armstrong, but Webster has a better fixture than him. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Sobey could be the real left of field play for guys. If you're looking at someone to fill up this guard spot, maybe you don't have the Menenga here. Maybe you've gone for a Cooks, a Hurt, a Doolittle, a PJC, and you just don't have much money left at all. You've got 260k sitting there to fill a guard spot, and you're sitting there going, none of these guards are appetizing. Sobey could be the option. Just saying. But that's how I'm going to leave it for the week, guys. I will update you guys on X, so please jump into the description down below. You'll find my X there. I will post it at before the round starts, just because obviously there's going to be a lot of time between now and then. There's going to be a lot of news released. What's happening with Derek Walton Jr., what's happening with Armstrong, what's happening with Cotton, and things may change depending on that. I'll listen to the rest of the Supercoach Hub boys talking. I'm halfway through their podcast. They ripped it today, so well done, fellas. But I'll listen to the rest of that and all the other content I enjoy. But yeah, I appreciate once again all you guys for tuning in to another Supercoach video. Till next time, peace, later.